that there's not a crazy person out there who's taking babies, but you also want to believe the mom, too.
Shocking new developments in the hunt for adorable baby Lisa. The war between Lisa's parents and the local cops amping up tonight. Police have executed a full-blown search warrant at the missing baby's house. We're talking moon suit, CSI. Lisa's parents, and this is a really significant fact, are banned from this property. As you see the cops go in there in their white outfits. Is all of this a reaction, perhaps, to the finger pointing at the cops by the family's hotshot attorney?
People during the investigation, members of law enforcement, obviously, some members, not all, and certainly I'm not going to start identifying which members or which group, but I think in the questioning of these two people have been a little insensitive. Do your investigation and start right here. Start right here. It's absolutely normal for them to start right here. But don't come to a conclusion before you have evidence and then try and look for the evidence.
But the cops say they haven't interviewed Deborah or Jeremy since October 8th because they're not cooperating. That's 11 days ago. Not to mention the new information Deborah spilled out about her possible alcohol-induced blackout because she had probably more than 5 drinks plus anti-anxiety meds the night baby Lisa went missing, and then she changed her timeline. So what are cops looking for inside that house? Give me a holler. 1-877-JVM says straight out to Jim Spellman, CNN reporter on the scene live right outside the home. Oh, what have cops found, if anything? Do you know?
Police tell us so far they haven't found any significant, but this search is still going on. They're in about the 9th hour, Jane, of this investigation. It started last night with cars pulling up to stop the family from entering the home. That's part of the conditions of this search. This morning we saw these CSI crews and other investigators go into this home, and they've been at it ever since, intensely searching inside the home as well as in the backyard using shovels and rakes around the shed. Not sure what they're searching for, and they tell us they haven't found anything significant, but they've been at it intensely all day, Jane.
Deborah Bradley admitted she chug-a-lugged at least 5 glasses of wine and took anti-anxiety meds, which would make it the equivalent of having 10 drinks. Listen to this.
Were you drinking that night?
Yes.
How much?
Enough to be drunk.
So you were drunk?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are going to say, Deborah, you were drunk that night. Is there any chance you did anything that hurt your daughter that you're just not telling us?
No. And if I thought there was a chance, I'd say it. No. I don't think that alcohol changes a person enough to do something like that.
All right, Matt Semino, attorney and Huffington Post contributor. This alcohol issue puts a very odd spin on the ball in terms of her behavior. It makes her look suspicious, perhaps, but maybe she just doesn't remember and is inconsistent because she was so drunk and messed up.
Jane, you raise a very, very important point. I mean, I think it leads to greater suspicion of the mother, and it also just questions what was she doing? Why wasn't she looking after her daughter? And also questions her responsibility towards her daughter. But yet at the same time, you have to understand, these parents, they're missing their child. So their stories may be inconsistent, they may be flustered, and, you know, they may not have a willingness to cooperate with the police because, you know, they're afraid.
Yeah, they keep saying they're afraid of being arrested. The mother keeps telling people that cops told her she failed a polygraph, but the cops, Mike Brooks, HLN law enforcement analyst, they're not saying she's a suspect. They're not saying they're about to arrest her. She seems to be pointing the finger at herself, and I just don't understand why.
Well, because she really doesn't know what happened, because she blacked out. And, you know, and they're back there today with a search warrant, Jane. This wasn't a consent search. You know, we heard from our CNN correspondent who's there on the scene that they got there last night. They kept lights on that whole backyard while he was doing a walk around of the house in the dark. So they came back today with local and the FBI evidence response team. And I'm wondering, Jane, if Jim is still there, did you see any stakes at all? Any flags in the backyard that would indicate maybe any use of ground-penetrating radar at all, Jim?
Jim?
We haven't seen anything exactly like that, but we've seen them using ladders on the inside of the house and on the outside of the house and going back and forth with all sorts of equipment. We haven't seen them take out anything that obviously looks like evidence, but we don't have the perfect vantage point on the backyard to see exactly what's happening on the ground level. But shovels, rakes, and at it for hours after hours in this area behind the shed in the back. Mike, Jane.
And Jane, I can tell you where they've got those.
Jim, why are they wearing the suits? Because they're wearing regular shoes. I don't think they've got booties on the shoes. So, Mike, why do you think they're wearing those white suits?
Well, it's hard to see. It looked like I saw the one agent who was going in the house did have something on his feet, but those are Tyvek suits. Those are what you use if you're going to work a crime scene. So you don't want because you want to take evidence away. You don't want to leave any possible trace evidence there that could be from your own clothes, any kind of hairs, fibers, those kind of things. Yeah, I didn't see any shoes there, but when you go inside, you might put them on so you're not bringing it inside from outside. You put them on once you get right inside the door. That's sometimes what we do, or what I used to do.
All right. Now, all of this is happening after police say, and they came out and said this, that they've been trying to talk to baby Lisa's parents. And basically, the last time, this is according to cops, the last time that the parents sat down unrestricted to answer questions that we needed answered was October 8th. Now, there was a point during that interview that she, the mother of the missing baby, became uncomfortable and ended the conversation. They've talked to detectives about tips that have come in since the 8th, but it's always on their terms. So, Matt Cimino, here's a mother crying hysterically, saying she wants to do everything she can to find her child, and yet she will not sit down and talk to the cops. What do you make of that?
Absolutely, Jane. I mean, that is highly suspect. And the fact that they had to execute this warrant for the search of the house without the parents' consent this time shows that there's a deterioration in the relationship between the police and the parents, and that there is some suspicion there. And that's really the problem here, is that the parents, they're missing their child. They should be cooperating with law enforcement. They should be doing everything they can to help find this child and not trying to, legally posture here with the police. They should be using their lawyer to cooperate with the police to provide as much information as possible to find baby Lisa.
Now, everybody is saying, hey, why are they talking to the media, even though they have allegedly stopped talking to cops? The cops said they tried to talk to them once, and they said, no, we can't talk to you because we've got to do a TV interview. Listen to this.
She's everything. She's our little girl. She's completed her family, and she means everything to my boys, and we need her home. I can't be without her.
All right, Jim Spellman, they have not allowed the parents back into the house. Do we know where these parents are? Are they hanging out down the block, or have they disappeared?
They've been staying with relatives a couple of miles away. Also, Jane, don't forget, not only have they not interviewed the mother, but the two boys that were in the home, 6 and 8 years old. If the mother was blacked out, they could be a key source of information. Police would love to interview those boys again as well.
Anna, Indiana, we're going to the phones. Anna, Indiana, your question or thought, Anna?
Hi. I'd like to know who was watching baby Lisa and the boys while she was going to the store, and how come she has not been arrested for child endangerment or child neglect?
Oh, well, you know what, Mike Brooks, that would be a great way to put pressure on the family, given that she's admitted that she was rip-roaring drunk, watching 3 kids, the infant who disappeared, the little baby, as well as a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old boy. Why haven't they arrested her on child endangerment?
Well, why arrest her right now? There are some cases, Casey Anthony case, where I thought maybe they might have arrested someone too early. Let them, monitor what they're doing, who they're talking to, all these kind of things that might lead them to where the little girl is. Sometimes, you want to keep your cards close to your vest and not go out there and just lock someone up right away, because then they're going to lawyer up and they're not going to talk to you at all about anything.
Yeah, and the other thing that's kind of disturbing is that the parents, who, by the way, have not been called suspects by the cops or persons of interest, they keep saying, hey, the cops should be looking for the kids. Well, people in the neighborhood say there's helicopters everywhere. There's armies of National Guard. People are looking for these children, and they thought they might have had a lead on the baby because there were 2 women who looked suspicious with a child. Turns out that's a false report. That is not that description of a possible baby Lisa at a Kansas City deli with 2 women, not happening, okay? That is not a valid tip. So you gotta wonder, what are cops going to do? They're going to take this information that they've gathered from the home. They're going to analyze it. They've also got this whole issue of the 3 cell phones that supposedly were taken along with the baby, which a lot of people think is strange. Why would somebody come in and take the baby and 3 cell phones and nothing else? We're going to stay on top of the story. And up next, the Michael Jackson